something changed. In 2021, Denmark's prime minister stood in front of parliament and said something that shocked the world. We can't promise 0 asylum seekers, but we can set that vision. Do what we can to implement it.
Yes.
Not fewer
Thank God.
refugees, not stricter limits.
Yes.
0
Zero. Absolutely zero.
asylum seekers, period. And she meant it. Denmark passed a law to ship asylum seekers to Rwanda.
Well, what are you going to do with them? We're going to send them to Africa. There you go. I love it.
6,000 kilometers
Yes.
away, so they'd never even set foot on Danish soil. They started seizing jewelry and cash from refugees at the border. They're demolishing entire neighborhoods to break up immigrant communities. They're forcing 1-year-old children in immigrant areas to attend mandatory daycare for 25 hours a week to learn Danish values.
That's right. And even that, I mean, if they're not going to have, if they don't want their kid to learn Danish values, then why not just deport them? Why not just get rid of them? Why are you having immigrants coming into your country that actively want to be leeches on your system and hate your country? What kind of a fucking value is that? It's retarded. Yeah, what? Why would you even do this? Deport them, yeah, get rid of them. What a stupid thing.
Or their families lose welfare benefits. This isn't some far-right fringe party. It's center-left social democrats.
Yeah, because it's what makes sense. It's common sense. This is what's going to happen all over Europe, and it's happening in America, too. The only unfortunate thing is that there's so many people... Like, European countries have it a lot worse than we do as Americans with their migrant and refugee crises. And so we don't really see it as bad as they do. But once things start actually affecting people on an everyday basis, this is going to be widespread everywhere.
Party of the working class.
And also, like, the entire concept of talking about this is ridiculous. Like, we're talking about an idea of what should happen, right? Whether it's happening right now is kind of irrelevant, isn't it?
That built Denmark's famous welfare state. And the Danish people, most of them love it. The prime minister's approval ratings hit record highs. So what happened? How did one of the world's most liberal countries become a fortress? Today,
because you have to keep it a fortress, because in order to preserve liberal values, you can't import a bunch of people that have extremely regressive, aggressive values that want to change the culture and do what they want to do. You can't just invite anybody in and assume that people are these interchangeable units that are not coming in with their own values. Like, if you're bringing in a bunch of people from a country that thinks that women should be property, you're going to have more people in that country that don't respect the idea of women's sexual autonomy. If you don't think that's true, you're a retard. You are a retard, and your life is at odds with reality.
We're diving into the real story behind Denmark's war on immigration, a refugee surge that changed everything. Nobody wanted to talk about, and the shocking policies that have turned Denmark into a model for hardliners across the West. To put it bluntly, this is a story of a country going from open arms to closed borders. So let's trace back, because Denmark wasn't always like this. In modern history, Denmark prided itself on humanitarian values.
See, that's the mistake. You should have never done that. You should have never done this. You should have focused on your own people and your own problems. Not trying to, micromanage, random countries.
It was one of the first countries to sign the 1951 Refugee Convention, joining the likes of Australia, Belgium, Germany. Like many
how's that going?
European nations rebuilding after World War II, Denmark actively recruited guest workers in the 1960s and 70s, bringing in laborers from Turkey, Pakistan, and Yugoslavia to fill critical labor shortages. The assumption was simple. They'd work, earn money, and return home. But many didn't. They stayed, brought their families, and built lives in Denmark. Then, in 1983, Denmark passed one of the most generous immigration laws in Europe, giving asylum seekers strong protections and a real path to citizenship.
See, they didn't think it was that bad then because it wasn't. Like, these things become worse over time as populations change. That's it. They turn from controlled to uncontrolled immigration. Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the issue. You never let this stuff happen. People always think, oh, it's a little bit, okay, let's let this happen. I don't understand how people let their countries do this. It's just, it's a shock to me that they do.
So yes,
Really
for
is.
decades, Denmark quietly accepted UN quota refugees and welcomed diversity.
Why would people move their entire family work here and then move home? I never understood if you made a light there. Well, I don't really, the thing is that, Jesus, this gnat is flying around my face, making me so annoyed. What their best interest is isn't really relevant to me because they're not citizens of the country. So whatever they're going to do and whatever they like doesn't matter. I don't care about that. It should matter what the citizens of your country want and what's in their best interest. That's it. It's literally that simple.
Back in 1980, immigrants made up just 2.6% of Denmark's population. In 2025, that number had jumped to 12.6%,
Wow.
with another 3.7% being Danes born to immigrant parents.
Yep.
Nearly all of Denmark's population growth since 1980 has come from immigration. But here's the thing. This wasn't a gradual change that people got used to. It was a sudden shock that changed everything.
And that's the reason why it's so problematic. It's because a lot of these people that are doing it, they bring in the amount of immigrants where they don't need to assimilate because they just create their own insular culture inside a separate country.
One of Europe's small
That's
countries. Welfare economy is under a lot of pressure. So we simply have to reduce the amount of people who travel up through Europe to specifically apply for asylum in Denmark.
The turning point came in 2015, the European integration crisis.
I don't know why. Why is it that Saudi Arabia and a lot of these other countries accept zero of these people, and Europe is just expected to accept millions of them? Why is this happening? Like, what is going on here? Turkey accepts a lot? I mean, very sus. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with the people over there. As I said, if it was up to me, the answer would be zero. I would take 0 of them. I would turn back every single one. This is such a massive mistake.
Million asylum seekers flooded into Europe every year, fleeing wars in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Denmark, a country of around 6,010,000, received 21...
Saudi actively said they don't want to take in any asylum seekers? Yeah, base. Totally agree with them. That's smart. Why would Saudi accept it? They have nothing to gain from it? Exactly.
1,316 asylum applications in 2015
21,000?
alone. To put that in perspective, Denmark received just 3,500 asylum applications in 2012. A sixfold...
Well, I mean, of course you're going to have a lot of people, and this is really what makes sense, right? Like, if you lived in one of these countries that was like a shithole, basically, if you lived in a shithole country, wouldn't you want to bring your family to a place like Denmark that has free healthcare and insurance and, you know, cheaper food, running water? Like, everybody would do this. So, like, if you create an incentive, you're going to create behavior. And that's really what they've done, is they've created an incentive for people to go over there and do that. The top 0.1% wants disposable, unskilled workers. Exactly. Like, the entire idea of this, like, mass immigration, mass migration, is an idea that's pushed by two groups of people. Useful idiot, you know, progressives that are totally fucking delusional, and they don't realize that they're importing in a lot of people who, on average, probably are completely at odds with what their personal values are. That's number one. And the other group of people, which is ironic because all of these progressives hate these billionaires, is that they're advocating for policies that benefit billionaires. What do you think the benefit is for the average citizen to have a bunch of random migrants in their country? Well, there is no benefit, but if you're a business owner and you can monopolize and take advantage of their labor, well then now we're talking. Now we're making money. That's it. And so yeah, those are the people that really win. It's ironic that like you have all of these like you know, progressive people and these like super empathetic, suicidal empathy people that are trying to just import infinity immigrants and infinity refugees into their country, but at the same time they're against the exact people who are the ones that are benefiting from these refugees the most.
Increase in 3 years. That's the most
one thing
in the
they agree
country's
on.
entire history. And the problem was, Denmark wasn't prepared. The system was truly overwhelmed. Small towns suddenly had refugee centers pop up overnight.
What the
government quietly allowed thousands of migrants to transit through to Sweden, which had more generous policies at the time. But the ones who stayed,
Man.
many came with limited education and no Danish language skills.
Of course, they're going to be fucking useless. Yeah, obviously. So you bring in a bunch of useless people, can't speak the fucking language. They're not educated, don't know anything. And oh wow, this is not good for the economy. I can't believe it. What a shock.
Unlike the structured guest worker program in the past, there was no integration plan at this scale. They created a problem Denmark...
Why does there have to be a benefit? It's humanity? Well, I completely disagree, and I don't think that we should accept immigrants. I can completely understand people wanting to help. Why would you even say that? Like, you're was this like some kind of like devil's advocate thing? Like, let me bring up a point that I don't even agree with.
Solve. By 2016, Denmark had reinstated border controls. They slashed refugee benefits. And then they placed ads in Lebanese newspapers announcing the welfare for asylum seekers.
Exactly, because they know that they come to the country for welfare. They're coming to the country so they can leech off of the social systems. Obviously, that's what they would do. I mean, like, yeah, of course. Duh. I don't know how anybody would not think this.
The message was blunt. Don't come here.
That's right.
You won't find paradise. The doors were closing fast. But why did a country known for generosity and openness suddenly turn so hostile?
Because you can only extend generosity and openness to people that are like-minded. If you do it to people that are not like-minded, they will use that against you and destroy the entire system that creates the generosity and open-mindedness to begin with.
The truth is,
That's
Denmark
simple.
had been struggling with immigration for years. They just hadn't been talking about it publicly. And when they finally did, Denmark had accepted integration wasn't working. Ethnic enclaves formed Danish cities, communities where Danish wasn't the main language, where unemployment was high, education was low.
Wow, this is making everything better. Different than just letting people in wholesale because they say they're refugees.
Crime was a growing problem. The government started calling them ghettos, not as an insult, but an official designation. But the neighborhood had more than 50% of Muslim immigrants and scored poorly on employment. Labeled ghetto. By 2018, Danish politicians were openly saying that immigrant-heavy districts were a threat to national unity.
Obviously. How did people not see this ahead of time? How did you think that importing in a bunch of random people from third world countries, or that don't speak your language and have no education is going to be a positive for your country? How could you possibly believe this?
Plan was titled Denmark Without Parallel Societies. No ghettos by 2030, explicitly framing these neighborhoods as threats to social cohesion and the welfare state.
100%.
Prime Minister at the time, Lars...
The people that are really contributing to the system in the same way. Like, I mean, they can't even speak the language.
Loki Rasmussen stated in his 2018 New Year's speech that ghettos could reach out their tentacles onto the
We
street.
didn't vote them. They came walking in with hundreds of thousands due to war and hunger. Go back.
By spreading violence, and that cracks have appeared on the map of Denmark. And the numbers backed up what he was saying. Immigrants made up about 14% of Denmark's population, but they accounted for 29% of violent crime convictions. That's more than double their share of the population.
Wow, what a surprise. Who could have guessed?
Then, there was
Big shocker
pause.
there.
In 2018, the Ministry of Finance released a bombshell report. Immigrants from non-Western countries and their children cost Denmark a net 31 billion kroner.
Holy shit! Honestly, it's probably way more. And yeah, that's the stuff that you know about. That's the stuff that's obvious.
A relatively small immigrant population created massive but nothing made immigration.
See, I'm a very welfare states. I think welfare states are good. Maintain a welfare state and let a bunch of people come in because they'll fucking like, I'm a favor of universal basic income, universal, free child care, etc. But it has to be for citizens only, and the people that come into that system have to be extremely highly qualified. You can't just let a bunch of random fucking, people from third world countries come in and then just think, oh, well, everything is going to turn out okay. It's obvious enough. If they have no skills to contribute, yeah, it's just so obvious. The balance is fucked even if Germany was 80% immigrants. Well, I don't know about that. A racist Republican socialist? What the? Well, it's not racist. I mean, I wouldn't care if they were white or not. It doesn't make a difference. The problem is the culture, the language that they speak, and the fact that they're not skilled in order to do jobs that increase the value of the country. So whenever you look at those three things, are those three things being current? No, they're not. So it doesn't matter what race they're in. It has nothing to do with it. Race guy? Yeah, and also, by the way, that language doesn't work anymore. Nobody cares about being called racist anymore. Nobody gives a shit. Yeah, go back to 2015.
More personally, in housing. Denmark already had one of the most expensive housing markets in Europe. Prices were skyrocketing. Young Danes couldn't afford to buy homes. Renters were being squeezed out of cities. And then in 2025, a groundbreaking study came out. It found that over 60% of Denmark's house price boom since 1999 could be tied.
I wonder if any of this could be applied to the United States. God, I really wonder. I wonder if there's any way that we could apply this to the United States. No way, right? Like, it's got to be totally different over there.
A record attributed to immigration-driven population growth.
Not on the same scale. It's probably not as bad.
More than half of the housing prices blamed on immigration. The study showed that in areas where the immigrant population grew by 21% in 5 years, home prices rose 11% and rents rose 6%.
Yeah, of course, because the homes are not growing as fast as the people are coming into the country, so it's going to rise the prices up because you have more competition. This is basic economics. Anybody could expect this to happen.
Of Danes started moving out of immigrant-heavy neighborhoods, what researchers call white flight, which only spread the housing crunch to other areas. People were furious. Suddenly, immigration wasn't just an abstract political issue. It was personal. It was affecting where people could live.
See, this is what's going to have to happen in America for people to take this seriously, and other countries in Europe, is that once people start actually experiencing the effects of this stuff themselves, and they start feeling the pressure of it themselves, then you'll finally start seeing them taking it seriously.
How much they got paid, whether they could afford a future in their own country. Yep. And there was a political earthquake brewing in the background. This is where Danish politics gets really interesting. For years, a far-right party called the Danish People's Party had been screaming about immigration. They were treated like fringe extremists. But in 2015, they won 21.1% of the vote.
Wow.
And 37 seats in the Folketing.
See, this is, I think, what's going to continue happening, is that especially when people feel unsafe, that is like a prime concern that people have, and if you're not addressing that concern, they'll find somebody who does. And in a lot of cases, the people that do might be violent or aggressive or problematic in other ways, but it won't matter to them.
The second largest party in Denmark for the first time in its history. So now they were propping up the government and demanding stricter immigration policies. Here's the thing. Most countries would panic about this. The far right taking power, democracy in crisis. But Denmark did something different. The mainstream parties, including the center-left Social Democrats, looked at those election results and made a calculation. If we don't take this issue seriously, we'll lose everything.
And that's what Americans need to do too. Is that you keep like never compromise with this kind of thing. The amount of refugees and asylum seekers and completely uneducated people that speak English coming into America, the number of those people there should be, the answer is 0. Should be 0. Literally 0. Any answer besides that is the wrong answer.
So they stole the far right's platform.
Don't compromise.
Mette Frederiksen,
Never
the
compromise.
Social Democratic leader, had once criticized immigration laws as the toughest in Europe. But by 2019, he was campaigning on a promise to stop immigration from
Or did the same thing in the UK, and people in the US have done the same thing. Why would I care? It's South Africa. I don't live in South Africa. Why would I care about South Africa?
on Western countries entirely. And it worked.
Did you know what? I'm gonna ban you. It's very obvious what you're doing, right?
She won. Her approval rating soared, and the far-right Danish people, their vote share collapsed. Oh, because why is already doing what you want.
Yep.
Today, there's a rare cross-party consensus in Denmark. Both left and right agree. Minimize refugee intake, enforce strict integration, preserve Danish culture. It's not even controversial anymore.
Yeah, I feel like if you just adopt their policies, they didn't really lose, did they?
So what did Denmark actually do? How far did they go?
A Danish minister is defending plans to strip migrants of cash and valuables to pay for their keep.
Let's quickly run through some of the most shocking policies to paint a better picture. The jewelry law. In 2016, Denmark passed a law allowing police to confiscate cash and valuables from asylum seekers. Anything worth
Damn.
more than about $1,500 to pay for their upkeep. The
Holy shit! Wow. Refugees in Denmark must declare assets worth more than $1,400?
world called it the jewelry law and condemned it as inhumane.
Oh.
Denmark enforced it anyway.
Okay, well, if it's inhumane, then get out.
The ghetto package. In 2018,
Dude. These names. The ghetto package?
designated certain immigrant
Wow.
neighborhoods as official ghettos and created special rules. Immigrants living in these areas face double punishments for crimes. And here's the wildest part. Children as young as 1 year old are required to attend 25 hours per week of mandatory daycare to democracy, gender equality. If parents refuse, they lose welfare benefits.
No. If they refuse, they should get deported. The whole family should get deported. You don't want to be part of the culture? Good. You're not. That's not far enough.
The government is literally forcing toddlers into state-run cultural training.
Good. Good. Deserved. Necessary. Absolutely necessary.
This policy was so extreme that Denmark was called before the EU Court of Justice on charges of racial discrimination.
Of course. Of course, guys.
Denmark's response? They defended it anyway. To them,
Yeah,
breaking
too
up
bad.
these neighborhoods and forcing integration wasn't discrimination. It was necessary to preserve Danish society. Revoking Syrian refugees. In 2020, Denmark started revoking residence permits for Syrian refugees, claiming
Good
parts of
start.
Syria were now safe to return to. Hundreds of Syrians.
Well, even if they're, I think this is a bad argumentation, because the implication behind it is that another country's state of like war or not has any bearing on how a sovereign country should be obligated to behave. It doesn't matter whether the country's at war or not. That doesn't mean that a country like Denmark is obligated to take in a bunch of people. It just doesn't make any sense. So, like, even though I kind of agree with this, I still think that they're using language and logic that is created by people who hate them and want to undermine them. And you should never use language and argumentation that's that's been created, and the frame of reference of argument created by a person who wants you to lose. Nordics flip pretty fast? Yeah, I'd say so. There's a point where it can possibly be dangerous precedent having these requirements. Well, I don't know about that.
Lived in Denmark for years, learned
Yeah.
the language, got jobs. They were told to go back or stay in deportation camps.
Yep.
Denmark became the first country in Europe to do this. The Rwanda plan. Inspired by Australia's offshore detention model, Denmark passed a law which grants not temporary detention, permanent processing. The idea is that no asylum seeker ever sets foot in Denmark. Ever. The plan passed parliament.
What? You can just do that? Holy shit. It never happened? Yeah, people are saying it didn't happen. Would your opinion on asylum seekers change if the home country always put their own citizens first? Why would I even think about their country? Why would I even for a second think about it?
If they put their citizens first, what the fuck are they seeking asylum from?
70 to 24. It's not some fringe.
Jesus Christ, are you stupid?
Policy.
My God.
Banning Islamic practices. Denmark banned full-face veils in public in 2018. They proposed banning the call to prayer. They've cracked down on foreign imams. All in the name.
I would say that the full face veil, I kind of agree with that in places where it's like, okay, well, if you need to be able to see what somebody looks like for crime reasons, then yeah, like walking, like I feel the same way about walking around in a ski mask, basically, right? So like if you have people that are walking around into stores in a ski mask, I would, as a store owner, not want those people to come into my store. So, under the same logic, I would feel the same way about people that wear veils also. So, religious or not, or whether it's Islamic or not, it's about the fact that it obscures your face, and it makes it harder for people to identify you. Why would I care about somebody's religion? If your religion says that you're going to break the law, then too bad. I guess you can't practice your religion. Like, the law overrules religion every time. It's not even what are we even talking about? It's common sense. And so, but masks are fine. I would say, like, masks definitely obscure less of your face than something like a full face mask, right? Are we really going to say that, like, a surgical mask is the same thing as something that covers everything except for your eyes? I mean, like, what are we doing here? And also, maybe masks are a problem. But, like, I think that it's very obvious. A very obvious thing is that something that covers all of your face is an issue, right? That's number one. Now, number two, what was the other one? I'm trying to remember what is banning.
Denmark banned full-face veils in
agree with
public
that.
in 2018.
Totally agree with that.
They proposed banning the call to prayer.
If it's loud, yeah, sure. Yeah. You don't want to have a bunch of people, like, if you can't ring church bells and you can't do that, then why are other people able to do a call to prayer? Like, it's a public disturbance. It's not a Muslim country. Denmark is not a Muslim country. It's not. So having these policies where and again, if I went to Turkey, this is the problem, right? Is that I don't go to Turkey and then say Turkey needs to get rid of the call to prayer because I'm not a Muslim. In the same way that I don't think Muslims should go to another country and then say, oh, well, we need this loud call to prayer so everybody knows about it. No, this is very clearly not the culture, and you're trying to import your culture and make them listen to you. That's it. I don't want Arabic blasted 5 times a day. Yeah, I don't want to have that. Absolutely. And Islamophobe Day? I mean, I don't see how that would make any sense. It's not about... So, the issue is the sound and the disruption to everybody else's life that it creates. So, being Islamophobic would mean that you shouldn't be able to do the prayers. But whenever you're doing something in public, especially whenever it's invading other people's sound waves and other people's lives, now we're talking about something very different. That's not Islamophobia. Also, you should, just ban that guy. Just go back and ban him. It's not a religious argument. Yeah, it's not.
crack down on foreign imams, all in the name of preserving.
Oh, foreign imams? Yeah, totally justified. Some of those people are fucking nuts. And that the reason, by the way, that some of those foreign imams are there is because they got kicked out of their Islamic countries for being extremist psychopaths. Like Dubai does this, UAE does this, and Saudi Arabia does this. If they have one of these imams that's popping off and
I'd
going
shake
crazy,
your hand, but
they shut
I
that
bet you
down
got
too. So
dysentery
it's not
the way you
Islamophobic unless you
smell.
want to talk about an Islamic country being Islamophobic themselves.
You hungry or something?
What's an imam? It's a priest, like basically from like the nation, what do you call it, the religion of Islam, right? That's it, JFC. Yeah. Defending public interest equals Islamophobic. Yeah, exactly. And so they don't tolerate those idiots. Yeah, exactly. And
Don't
like, yeah,
let
of
them.
course
You
they
think
have
you're
them.
pretty smart
And if
now,
they're
don't you?
extremist or,
Here's your
trying to
pay,
push extreme ideas and
Einstein.
they're not even citizens here. I mean, Denmark probably has their own problems. They don't need to import problems from the third world.
Danish values. Each of these policies is extreme on its own.
Yeah.
Together, they
None of them are extreme. They're completely reasonable, and any normal person would have this opinion. The only reason why it's considered extreme is because you live inside of an
If you
apparatus
want a
that's
job
been
from me,
created
word
in
of
order to
advice.
make
Next
you
time,
resent your
bathe
own
before
life,
coming
make
to
you
a
resent
job
your own
interview.
culture, and make you sorry for what you exist as. None of these are extreme in any capacity. This is what is extreme is thinking that you can go around wherever you want, fully covering your face so nobody can identify you. What's extreme is thinking that 5 times a day you get to ring a bell and make some really loud noise that everybody else around you has to hear because of your religion. What's extreme is thinking that you can come to a foreign country and hate, extremism, and violence and not get deported. That's what's extreme. Getting rid of it isn't extreme, that's normal.
paint a clear picture. Denmark is making itself as unwelcoming as possible. The message to asylum seekers is simple: don't come.
Do not come.
So why is this happening?
I'm gonna
now?
come.
Yep.
What's the crucial question that needs answering to help all of this make more sense? After decades of relative tolerance, why the sudden shift? Well, it's not one thing. It's everything coming together at
Yeah, of
once.
course.
First, the welfare state. Danes are proud of their system. Free healthcare, free education, generous unemployment benefits.
You cannot have this whenever you import a bunch of third worlders that can't even speak the language. This is something that can only exist inside of a high-trust society.
But it only works if
how it is.
everyone contributes.
That's right.
When they saw
Exactly.
billions being spent on immigrants who weren't integrating, who weren't working, who were drawing more than they were putting in, they panicked.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're bringing in people that are a net negative, then what are you doing? Their defense is subsidized by the USA. Sure. But, like, on top of it, they were still able to do it before then, and now it makes it worse.
That didn't work anymore. Second, security features. Denmark is a safe country, crime is low, but high-profile cases involving immigrants, gang violence in migrant neighborhoods, even terrorism, like the 2015 Copenhagen shooting by a Danish-born son of immigrants, left a mark. Many Danes started associating refugees with danger. Third,
Well, yeah, they probably have a higher rate of violence and criminality, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it sure seems like it. I mean, and if you don't think that's the case, why is it that every other country in Europe that's accepted a bunch of these people has had their rape and sexual assault graph go up like this, except for Poland that doesn't accept any of it? What do you think that is? Why could that possibly be happening? It's so obvious.
the parallel societies. This is a big one. Danes don't just want immigrants to live in Denmark. They want them to become Danish.
Oh! What? What? You can't do that! What do you mean?
Speak the language, share the values, integrate completely.
Yes!
When they saw neighborhoods where Danish wasn't spoken, where women wore face veils, where
Yes.
kids weren't celebrating Christmas, they saw their culture being eroded. They saw
Because it is. That's exactly what's happening.
a future where Denmark wouldn't be Denmark anymore.
Yes.
And here's where it gets controversial. When the war in Ukraine started,
Nothing about this is controversial. controversial, by the way. The only people that think it's controversial are brain dead retards.
Denmark welcomed over 41,000 Ukrainian refugees in
Yeah, of
2020.
course, because Ukrainian refugees are going to integrate better into society than ones from third world countries from a totally different religion, totally different culture, totally different language. There's a lot more overlap. You know, you think about a Venn diagram, right? Like the Ukraine and Denmark is going to be a Venn diagram, whereas a lot of these third world countries are just two separate circles.
2022 and 2023. Quick
And
residents.
yeah, it's like that's the big reason. That's what makes sense.
See permits, immediate support, no controversy. Why? Because Ukrainians are European. They're
Yeah, duh. Of course. It's crazy how these people can state these kinds of things as if it's an accusation, whenever, in fact, it's the best justification you could possibly have. Yeah, duh. Of course.
Christian. They're seen as culturally compatible.
Because they are. They are. They're more culturally compatible. Anybody disagreeing with that is brain dead. And they're a liar.
Contrast is stark. It started to look like Danes were welcoming refugees as long
Oh,
as they're the right kind of refugees.
I'm doing all right. The cats are running around right now. I got the little one right there ready to
Makes sense.
pounce.
That's what I do. It's smart.
But I just came in. I'm basically just waiting for the grocery stores to open up. I gotta go.
Of course.
I gotta get more iced tea. I gotta get kitty litter.
What is wrong
There's a
with
couple
you
other
nowadays?
things I gotta pick up for the grocery store.
And that's made the hardline stance feel justified to a lot of people. It's not about numbers, it's about culture. So there's one final question to try and
Yeah, it's about culture and religion and the values. Absolutely.
answer here. What does the rest of the world think about all of this?
That is the least important question in the world. Wow. Other countries think that you should import a bunch of migrants into your country. Oh, really? Okay. That's great. Why should Denmark care about the opinions of any other country whenever they're looking out for their own citizens? If other countries are advocating for you to implement policies that put your own citizens at risk, then at what point are they not just trying to sabotage you?
Denmark's transformation has shocked the world. Human rights groups call the policies cruel.
Human rights groups are bullshit. They shouldn't be taken seriously. All they do is they're weaponized in order to destroy these European countries and to make everything worse for people that live there. They're filled up with Karens, and I think that if it was up to me, I would defund every single one of them. Yeah, I just completely stop giving them money. It doesn't matter. I don't want to hear a bunch. I don't want a new council of Karens that live in gated communities to try to tell me why it's a great idea to import a bunch of illegal migrants into my country that can't even speak the language that they will never have to see in their life. It's crazy. Yeah, human rights. Yeah, well, what about the human rights of the people that live in of Denmark in order for them to decide what's okay for them? This stuff makes me.
I didn't even think I'd get anybody viewing this early.
I see this as just a.
Well, I do sometimes, but they're usually
inversion
like one time I got
of
somebody from
morality,
Finland.
and it's done in a way that is totally fucking.
Yeah, usually overseas at this
Like,
time.
it's totally self-referential. It's completely selfish, and the people that are advocating for it never have to experience it. It's allowed, yes. It's suicidal empathy being weaponized, yeah. Never listen to any of this human rights stuff. You know what else they complained about? Bukele in El Salvador. And you know what he did? He put everybody in jail, and everybody else now lives in a paradise. And I'm sure it's not great, but I can guarantee you it's probably better than it was 15 years ago. So never listen to these people. These people don't want to make the world a better place. They want to make themselves feel good, and they want to create a degree of importance for themselves by complaining about things. They should be totally defunded, and they have no value whatsoever. They're full of shit. Now there's free college in El Salvador? Yeah, exactly. Human rights. Jesus Christ. What about the rights of the other 98% of people? They never think about that.
UN says they're harsh and possibly illegal, but in Inside Denmark, there's barely any outcry. The crackdown is popular. Asylum applications
See, this is everybody wants it.
dropped from over 21,000 in 2015 to just 2,095
That's 2,095 too many.
in 2021. The government calls that a success. A YouGov poll from 2018 found that 65% of Danes were against accepting any more migrants. By 2022,
65% fucking based. I love it.
46% of Danes stated that they wanted no more or only a few Muslims making residency in their country. Mette Frederikson's government argues they're being realistic. When people realize they will be sent out of Europe, they will stop coming.
Duh. Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Said one social democratic lawmaker defending the Rwanda plan. And they will stop putting themselves in danger, he added. Other countries are paying attention.
Now it seems there's a lot of more countries that have rallied around the notion that we should get democratic control of the migrant flows, and I'm just very, very happy that this is the case.
Denmark's strict immigration policies have
Yep.
found inspiration in Australia's Stop the Boats offshore processing model.
Yep.
And Denmark has been actively studying the Australian approach. Denmark's immigration minister
Yeah, just don't let them come. There it is. It's simple. Are you anti-immigration on principle, or simply because of the state of the U.S. today? I'm anti-immigration generally out of principle. Yeah, I think that bringing in a bunch of people into a homogenous society that don't share any of the values or even the language of that society will create problems, no matter what. And I think that you can just you can look at this as an abstract idea, and you can easily come to the conclusion that this will cause problems. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you don't have to like be a genius or like a wizard or an economist to figure this out. It's so obvious. It's common sense. Yeah, it is. Legal migration, not legal migration for me? Well, if you bring in a bunch of legal migrants that also don't speak the language, that also don't share the reality, if you have a law that effectively allows your country to be subverted by foreigners that are coming into it, that are not assimilating, why do you have that law? If you have a law that actively works against the best interests of the country, why does it exist? So I think that really something being legal versus illegal matters, but even legal migration should be managed at a very low level in a lot of cases. And I think that a lot of countries think that they're going to solve their economic problems by just importing infinity third worlders. I don't think that's going to work.
Minister even visited the controversial Nauru facility in
Assimilation's a
2024
myth.
to
It
see
doesn't
how
work.
it works.
Assimilation absolutely works. It 100% works, but it has to be slowly. Like, I mean, a great example of this is like every World War II movie is generally about 5 guys that get, drafted into the war. And one guy is from New York, another guy's from California, another guy's from Florida, one guy is from like Alabama, and one's from Texas, from totally different lifestyles and totally different worldviews, and they come together to achieve something that's greater than themselves, right? And so, really, like Fury, yeah, great example. That's a new one, right? I watched that with my dad, and that's the point. So, like, assimilation does work, but it has to be done very slowly. And it also, not everybody will assimilate, of course, right? But, like, you should want that to be the goal.
Practice. The UK designed its own offshore processing agreement with Rwanda by looking to Australia's model. And in 2021, Denmark became the first European country to pass this.
That's Denmark. Can't even spell their own country right. Oh, God.
Legislation allowing it to transfer asylum seekers outside of Europe for processing.
Jeez.
Denmark
What are they
isn't
doing?
an outlier anymore. It's helping shape a new European approach to migration. In
Yeah, this is what everybody in Europe should do. That's how it's actually spelled. I assumed that. I just thought I could get a little bit of reaction out of people.
conclusion,
I know.
Denmark is one of the most intense political shifts in modern European history. A country famous for happiness, equality, and openness has become a fortress. They've gone from welcome.
Well, yeah, it's a fortress so everybody can be happy and equal inside of the fortress. Duh. That's the whole reason why it's a fortress.
Welcoming refugees to for zero asylum seekers. From integration programs to demolishing immigrant neighborhoods. From
Get
a
'em out.
humanitarian leader to a hardline enforcer. and it's
You should have never been a humanitarian leader, and they should have been focusing on the humanity of their own people.
working. And politically, the Danish people
W.
support it.
Yep.
The far right has collapsed because the
love it.
mainstream adopted their policies. Other countries are following Denmark's lead. This is a story of a society that tried integration, decided it failed, and chose separation instead.
They didn't decide it failed. They did studies, and the studies showed that it failed. There was like verifiable proof that it failed. It's not like, oh, well, they just decided that it was bad. No, there's a study on it, and it said that these people are a massive net negative to the money.
Oh, yeah, it's
It's
the
a story
mausoleum.
of fear.
Sorry.
Fear of losing a welfare state.
Exactly.
Fear of losing cultural identity.
True.
Fear of losing control.
All justified, all reasonable, all completely patriotic concerns to have, and any Dane that has them, I totally respect. Anybody who's advocating for bringing in all of these people, I suggest that we send them directly to their house.
Denmark made a choice. They decided the costs of an open society were too high. And now they're showing the rest of the West exactly how far a democracy will go when people feel threatened.
No, it's actually it's not that bad. I mean, they're just getting rid of some of them. There's still a lot of them there. It's really not that bad.
Is this the future, or is this a warning? What about how Portugal solved the immigrant?
I think that the only warning is the fact that it happened in the first place. I mean, this video presents Denmark as somehow a bad actor and somehow for doing this, but I totally support them, and I think that they're completely right. They're completely right in doing this, and I'm totally on their side. This is a good thing. The time I worked an OTK event.
My experience has been working since. I worked one event for OTK. It's a really, really long story. I'm gonna try to keep it short and just focus on this kid. Give context. I was a fan of OTK when they were at their peak, and I had reached out to them just saying like I'm a big fan, and if you need help with anything from film and TV, I'm a very behind-the-scenes person. They reached out and do you want to job? Like flat out, would you like to work for us? Living in LA with my boyfriend, I'm like I don't know if I want to move everything for Austin. So once what happened in this whole experience was. I said, let's do one shoot together, and we'll see if this is a good fit or not. So then they said, okay, we have this big event coming up, and it was a really big event. And I said,
This was, I'll just say it. I mean, because I can just say it. It was the OTK 1-year anniversary event.
okay, I will do this with the stipulation that there will be a separate event plan because I can't tech produce and do event planning at the same time. And it will be rehearsals, and I forgot what other things I said. They said yes. After
This might have been another instance of Minx being drunk at an event, but it's not the one you're thinking of. I don't remember if she was at this event and if she was drunk or not. I'm not sure.
all that, we had a call with all the members of OTK at that time.
Yes.
They were throwing out more ideas and saying more expensive. I was the first one to speak up and say, I would like to host this event. Immediately, Miskiff jumped in and said, no, I think me and Espen should do it, and it should be on my channel. But even then, people would joke about like Aspen not being part of this. I thought, hey, he's offering and willing and wanting to do this. Let him do it. I think
I offered because the reason why I offered obviously is because I like announced the fucking org and it was like the 1-year anniversary, and so I was like, okay, maybe I should do it. But the fact is, I was actually glad that Miskiff took it over. The reason why is that this happened at the same time my mom was in the hospital, and so like as soon as that's why I didn't push back on this, and I was like, you want to do it? Okay, great, go ahead and do it, right? And that's why I didn't want to do it.
he and Rich would have made it a great host. Immediately, Miskiff just steamrolled over him and said,
I said
no,
totally, go ahead.
I think it should be me.
Absolutely.
And everyone just went along with it. And
Absolutely.
I was a little surprised that there wasn't like a discussion about it. As for
That's the reason. I offered to do it, but I didn't really want to.
the week of the event, I'm there. I'm not getting anyone for rehearsals. Normally, for an event like that, for how big it became, I would do a week's worth of like, building and testing. Out of had zero with any of the members to do anything.
Yeah.
I come from producing, I come from behind the scenes. So I'm the person where I don't sit back. I take initiative, so I reach out.
This is the reason why we stopped doing events, by the way, is that a lot of people that like organizing events with streamers is really hard to do because streamers are very busy. Because what you have to keep in mind is that like, and people, this might annoy people because it's like, this is kind of going against kind of what the meme is. But the fact is that like, if you're doing what we were doing, for example, is like, we're running a company. We are also having to do our own streams ourselves. And then on top of that, then there's like extra business work and like things that you have to do outside of the actual stream itself in order to prepare yourself or to get ready for the next stream, right? And so there are a lot of things that happen that you have to do as a streamer, right? Now, obviously, streamers just lazy. I mean, I can say that whenever we were like for the first year of OTK, I would say that we definitely were not lazy. We definitely were not. Like, there was a lot, like, and that's everybody was not lazy. It's not like, oh, I was lazy and they weren't lazy. Everybody was lazy. So yeah, extra business, go selling cookies. Yes, basically, right? But digital panhandling takes a lot of work. Yeah, bro, you got to come up. You got to get a dog. You've got to make sure it's in the frame. You know, like, yeah, of course. And so probably inefficient. Yeah. Well, anyway, the reason why we stopped doing this is that it was like herding cats, because a lot of people didn't really like want to do the events unless it was like something that they would directly benefit from. Yeah, we were not lazy. We worked at least 2 hours a day. Exactly, Rich. There you go. Yeah, 2 hours a day, man. And so a lot of shot callers, exactly.
He's not kidding, because I'm starting this out, and I pretty much work every waking minute, man. Like, if I'm not streaming, I'm looking up shit on my stream. I'm doing, like, I added these sound effects. I got the border and everything.
We just run through the day with you. He's like, okay, so I go.
Oh
to his
no,
house, and
insufficient space to
it's,
continue
like, so many different
recording.
people there and animals and so on. Eventually, I find him.
I gotta
walk him through, like the call sheet, the schedule, everything.
I gotta empty out my.
It's pretty low. This is a pretty typical thing for producing any event, where you go through the run of show, where it's like, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, etc. Right? Usually going through and doing an event. I mean, Rich can confirm this, right? He's in chat. Whenever we did this at WePlay, you know, it would take longer to rehearse the event than it would take to do the event. It would take a tremendous amount of time to do. Especially because, like, you have a lot of, you've got to be on the same page ahead of time. Basically. A rehearsal, pretty common. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Of where, like, the intro is going to be, the performers, the pyro. Again, I agree to a lot more than I should have.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff, so that way I can, in that 15 minutes, rehearse him and walk him through what he needs to do.
The day of.
Yeah, you've got to do that, obviously.
I wanted him and all the other members there 2 hours before to do a whole rehearsal, and he wasn't there. And again, he's the one actually hosting this, and he wasn't there. He showed up like 20 minutes before we were supposed to go live. I was trying to run him through really quickly. Like, don't go to this area. Like, we have intense up here.
Yeah.
When you work with a crew, you know how Kai's always yelling like production. Production needs things like pre-set up, or they need to know in advance. And that's why things go wrong a lot on live streams when you work with a whole crew. 2 minutes we're
She's right about that. It's true.
supposed to go live, and Espen and I are like consoling him because the whole time he's like, I don't want to do this. This is gonna be awful. Yada yada yada. And he was like that.
2 minutes, bro. No, I'm not gonna do it. No. I'm not gonna. I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. Oh my god. And the thing is that, so at this event, I didn't see any of this because as I said, like this was when my mom was in the hospital. So I was so
Well,
caught up
I
with
guess
all
I'm
that.
gonna have to pay you
I didn't
now
have
that
time
you
for
did
this
it.
shit. So the only time I was there, I was standing next to Tectone in the line, and that was it. Wait, that was the day I met Tectone.
Bye. or bye.
From the start, they're supposed to wear these like costumes. He's like, I don't want to wear these. I'm like, these were your guys' ideas. As fan is yada yada, and he was like that from the start. They're supposed to wear these like costumes. He's like, I don't want to wear
All
these. I'm
that,
like, these were
didn't we
your guys'
agree your first job was going to be
ideas.
free?
As fan,
Damn, this is all I can spare.
Oh, jeez. We're eating donuts by the magician, bro? Yeah, exactly. Oh, I remember that.
I got
Yes,
some shit
yes,
work.
Zach Fox from Twitch,
What are
yes.
you standing
And I
there
remember
for?
sitting
Don't you
over
have
there,
work
and
to
then
do?
I was talking to the Protest Sisters. I met them at this event, and I talked to them for like an hour or something like that. And I don't remember what we were talking about. It was some other random shit. And then I went to the petting zoo, and I just spent like 30 minutes looking at the goat.
Trader Rex
I
is
just could
closing
not
shortly,
believe
so finish your damn business
that you
or
could,
come back tomorrow.
you know, like, I mean, there it is. I could not believe that goat, man.
is
LeBron?
being really
No,
like,
the real ones.
supportive and like, no, it's gonna be great. Come on, just like put it on. And he's still like refusing to do it 2 minutes before we're supposed to go.
2 minutes? I didn't see any of this. I wasn't there for any of this, bro. Oh my god.
Live. In all this time, I
Yeah.
didn't have time to prep our director and sound
Right.
about like how the start of live was gonna go because I have everything scheduled.
Uh-huh.
Like we're gonna rehearse 2 hours before. Everyone shows up 2 hours before. Then we're gonna run through these rehearsals. We're gonna have a break. During that break, I'm gonna run them through. All right, this is how the start of the stream is
And
gonna
do you guys remember that? It was so bad. Everything about it was awful. So the lady that owned the place that we were renting kept eating all of our food, and then I think that, like, the only good part is we had a magician, and the magician was really good. Yeah, it was, everything about it was fucked. Like, this event was like, I remember like after the end of the event, everybody was just like, thank God that's over. Oh my God.
But throughout the stream, he just kept doing the things I told him not to, and I was getting rich, like, to try to, like,
Redirect
jump
it, yeah.
in and, like, redirect him,
Yeah.
re-steer him, because he's going to areas where we didn't have reception, and then everyone's, like, blaming me for blackouts on stream and stuff.
I remember the screen would start flashing and people were losing their mind. Oh my God. Is this the event was Welcome to OTK for Seer? Yes, this was the event where we added Seer to OTK. Yes.
He was just, like, purposely being, like, pouty and, like, so, and doing his own thing, just not caring about the agenda. Stream close to an end, and the stream was okay. There's definitely things I could have done better. There's things I wish I had just said no to, like, we don't have the manpower to do this.
Yeah.
It was just, like, raging and seething inside about Miskiff, because it would have...
Raging and seething inside. Oh, shit.
Gone so much smoother had he rehearsed and shown up earlier and not purposely, like, done the things I asked him not to. But what hurt the most was not just Miskiff. Immediately after the live was done,
Yeah.
still at the event, we're like packing up, everyone's leaving, etc. Everyone iced me out. Everyone was huddled around Miskiff, consoling him and just chit-chatting with him. Everyone ignored me. Everyone.
I can see why she would feel this way. But there is some information that will make this a little bit more understandable from her point of view. Miskiff was so upset and so stressed out about this event that his heart condition was acting up, and we were worried that we had to call an ambulance for him. That's why we were all huddled around Miss. That's what happened. I think Rich was there, Tectone was there, Emmy was there, I was there. Why this event? I don't know. I don't know why it happened, but that's the reason why. Was it real though? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he was saying it was real. I mean, fuck. Like, what am I supposed to think, right? So, real condition or South Park condition? I think he has a legitimate condition. Yeah, I think he had a legitimate condition. Like, I believe so. I mean, but that was the reason why. And so, you should have included her in this information. She should have been informed. I mean, honestly, like, whenever you think that somebody in your friend group, like, one of your friends might be having, like, a heart attack or something like that, you know, like, you're just going to be totally focused on that. Right? I'm just being honest, right? Like, I was totally focused on that. And this is like, and then immediately after that, I had left because, you know, again, my mom was in the hospital at that time. So, yeah. And I just did that, and I left early as soon as pretty much it was over. I didn't even stay for Sears stream because of it. And so, that's pretty much what had happened. And so, yeah, probably meant to let her know beforehand. I mean, I didn't even know. It just came up, right? Something just happened. But yeah, old Doc Henry is a lot. But yeah, was he on roids at this point? I mean, I don't know. Like, that's just what he told us. Yeah, it was Misty's fault. I don't know if it's his fault. Like, I was just telling you. Like, I mean, that's the reason why. Like, the reason why I didn't immediately, like, I didn't push back and like, want to do the event is because, again, like, I don't really like hosting events. I just offered to do it because I was like, I think I should have to do this. And also, it's because my mom was in the hospital. I didn't want to have to deal with it. And then, again, the reason why at the end is because we were really worried about Miz. Like, straight up. Like, that's the actual reason why. Yeah, I mean, it's that simple. So, yeah. And your kick channel's getting botted. Nice. And it's not sus. You don't do roids with heart condition. I mean, if he was saying that he was having this issue, I mean, I don't know what you're going to say. Like, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I can't. Yeah, I mean, I can't go in there and remember everything that happened and know. Asmon volunteered to host, but forced it to go over because Asmon doesn't want Asmon to get more attention to him. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I actually appreciate, if you want me to be honest, I appreciated him hosting it, right? I did. And I preferred that, honestly. Like, I volunteer for things if I feel like I have, like, an obligation to, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I wanted to. So, yeah, that's about it. So that's what happened. That's where things went. That's what happened in general, right? And, yeah. And, bro, I got about 10 viewers. Yeah. I mean, this excuse sounds sus, not you. I mean, I don't know whether it was or not. I mean, like, I have no idea. I'll tell you that after the event was over, he crashed out over the event. He was really, really upset about the event. He was upset about everything at the event. And I don't know really, like, I don't think that the event went well, but as I said, I was so preoccupied with, like, what was going on in my personal life at the time that, like, I don't know really who did what wrong or what could have been done better. I have no idea because I just simply wasn't there. So, yeah, it's that simple. But, it seems stressful to be around. Yeah, it was very stressful to deal with, and, you know, we didn't really know what to do. Have you seen the panic attack clip? Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, I have no idea about that at all. Miz forced you out? I mean, that's not the way that I felt about it at the time. But, you know, if somebody wants to say that, I mean, I don't really care, right? It doesn't matter to me. But, like, that's it. So for time framing, was this before or after Hassan zapped Kaya? Well, that's what really matters. And it was before then, actually. This man's getting live Yelp reviews. And all these stories, S-Fan's a nice person behind the scenes. Yeah, of course, right? I mean, S-Fan's always been a good guy, right? Of course. Yeah, and what was the event? Was it? Yeah, it was the OTK 1-year anniversary. Yep, that's what it was. And so, you know, a lot of people, like, you know, as I said, I will correct misinformation or, you know, partial information. I don't really think anything here was misinformation. But, you know, there was, like, things about it that, like, I think that it would make a lot more sense to her if she, you know, could see, like, oh, okay, this is the reason why, right? And that's it. Did Miz kill Emmy on purpose in OnlyFans? Now, that's the real question. That's the real one. Yeah, valid question. I guess so. And streamers need Carfax now. They do. It's called Quit Longer. And let's see if I can find any more of this. Does Barbara come out and say this shit? Yeah. And wow. G production. It was Craft of Diva. Yeah, there it is. Saved you by watching 5.5 minutes. Yeah, there it is. All about the case on a pretty unprofessional. Yeah, I mean, it was a hard time for me, and that's the reason why I was doing it. But yeah. Man, that is crazy. Ever watch S-Fan all his stories? Seems like a good dude. Yeah, S-Fan always did a great job. He did. And review the footage of him killing our character. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it again, right? she was well compensated, no hard feelings, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't involved with it. As I said, bro, like, I mean, my mom was literally in the hospital dying, and so, like, I was totally disconnected from all of this. Like, I had nothing to do with any of this really at all. And so, like, I don't even know. Like, I mean, maybe it might have been... Look, I'm trying to remember, like, what even the timing on all this was. But, yeah. Is veteran streamer worker tell instantly who's genuine, fake, insecure streamers are? I'm not sure, right? I mean, like, it depends. I think that a lot of people have false positives on things, but in a general sense, yeah, I think a lot of people know, right? Like, who's good and who's not. This girl committed a deadly sin. She didn't condemn J.K. Rowling and say that she was an evil demon witch. It's bad. It's real bad out there, guys. It's super bad.
The trans stuff is just over, right? We all understand the trans stuff is over. And you get these just small cultural moments that put a pin in it and be like, yeah, okay, that's where everyone was just like, yeah, we don't care. We don't care anymore, and this isn't going anywhere from this point onwards. And Keira Knightley, not really giving a damn about the objection to J.K. Rowling and J.K. Rowling's virulent turfism, was pretty much the point for a lot of these people, where it's become very, very clear that this nonsense just doesn't fly anymore, actually.
People don't want to hear about some weirdo on the internet telling them what's normal. If you've got so many flags in your fucking bio that it looks like you're world buffed for Naxxramas 40 for a speed run, you need to shut the fuck up.
As you can see from this interview, where she's asked about what do you think of
Nobody wants to
the
hear
fact
it.
that there are lots of people who object to J.K. Rowling in your work, because the thing is, she's working in a film that's based on a book by J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
And she's just like, what? I don't know.
Professor, I'm bridging the new Harry Potter audiobooks. I was wondering, are you aware that some fans are calling for a boycott, given J.K. Rowling's ongoing campaign against trans people?
I was not aware of that, no. I'm very sorry. You know, I think we're all living in a...
Yeah. No, not really. I mean... Oh, really? Damn. That's crazy. Wow.
Period of time right now. We're all going to have to figure out how to live together, aren't we? And we've all got very different opinions. So I hope that we can all find respect.
That's right. That's right. And she gave a political answer to it. She's like, well, you know what? People are going to have different opinions than you are, and that's life. And it's like, let me guess. The internet is fucking furious about this. Uh-oh. I bet.
Women currently respecting trans rights.
And also, by the way, that answer isn't even anything negative about trans people. Like, I think that a lot of, and this is the way that I think a lot of even liberals feel, is that, like, this is at least the way I feel. Like, you want to be trans, be trans. I don't care. It's fine. You go do hormone therapy, get surgery, go ahead. Fine. Be happy. If you think that's gonna make you a happy person, then I think everybody has, you know, again, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you want to do that, go and do that. The problem is that whenever you want to go into exclusive biological women's spaces, like, and this is the problem, is that you always have people that push it over the line. Nobody has a, like, I mean, I say nobody. There's a lot of people that don't like trans people. I'm not one of those people. But there's a line where I think that most reasonable people drop off. And that's about, you know, women's only spaces and sports. I think that's where you lose the mega majority. That's it.
Oh yeah, we want to have
kids. Oh yeah. Talk and then introducing the idea of being trans to a kid. Yeah. True. Actually, that's probably number one. Honestly, it's number one.
Learn to live together and find respect. And you can. This all went down like an absolute lead balloon with exactly the people you'd expect. The Guardian was just like, my God. She was there apparently promoting a Netflix movie, The Woman in Cabin 10. But she is also in doing audiobooks of Harry Potter series. In this Woman in Cabin 10, she plays the Guardian reporter, so the Guardian must have been thrilled, which okay, here.
Yeah.
But, and then you've got to remember that J.K. Rowling, as I've covered previously, doesn't give a shit about any of this now. Rowling, like, this is the thing, I really, really enjoy J.K. Rowling's attitude towards men in dresses and their advocates. Rowling recently responded to Emma Watson because Emma Watson was like, "Oh, I still love her." And J.K. Rowling's like, "Get fucked."
That was crazy. Like that. Honestly, it's like getting in a fight with a writer on Twitter. It's like fighting Aquaman at the bottom of the ocean. You just fucked up. Really, like you just fucked up straight out. Should not have done that.
Just love watching them get hoisted on their tards. Anyway, so yeah, like as you can imagine, there were lots of them who were very upset. Fox News here have collated a few.
Even celebrities are tired of the bullshit because people don't want to be told. The reason why celebrities are tired of it is because celebrities never liked it to begin with. They just thought that they had to play along with it in order to get roles and to fit in with social norms. You really think that all the celebrities all have the same viewpoints on this shit? Fuck no. I bet you talk to a lot of these people privately, they probably think the same thing that you do. Like, it's just that, you know, you work in a business and you're in an industry, you have to say certain things and get along with certain people and have viewpoints, right? Of course. Now, you had somebody, you remember Mel Gibson?
Of the sort of like moderate reactions. You've got like normie women influencers who are just like, yeah, even celebrities are tired of it. It's so thanks to Keira Knightley to giving like the average woman permission to not giving a shit about the woke trans BS anymore.
Well, it's more than that. I think it's beyond that. It's that people don't want to be accosted and constantly tried for the crimes of somebody else. Like Keira Knightley playing a role inside of an audio book that is for a really popular series. What the fuck does that have to do with really J.K. Rowling specifically? What is that? Like, that's her job. Like, her job isn't to, like, do you know how many people, like, the weirdos, like, you know, fucking, like, I don't know, like, H.P. Lovecraft is racist as fuck, for example. There's plenty of people, like, it's like so many degrees of separation, and it's like at a certain point people just want to get mad because they have nothing else to do.
Keira Knightley refuses to kowtow to petty trans insanity. Refreshing. I officially love Keira Knightley. That laugh says it all. Tired and fed up with the petulant, childlike mob clowns, our entire world deny the reality of gender. Worse off, deny the reality of biological sex. But yeah, no, seriously, J.K. Rowling is winning this fight. Good for her.
It's not even J.K. Rowling that's winning the fight. I think it's just common sense and rationality. What's happened is that reasonable people have entered into the space and they've seen that the amount of overreach that some of these trans advocates have are, I think, completely unreasonable. Like you have, for example, people trying to bring this up to children. You have them trying to insert themselves into locker rooms for underage girls. You have them trying to, you know, change the way that sports are seen and the way that sports are played. That's the problem. Like, I think that the truth is that most average people, this is a genuine belief that most people don't give a fuck about trans people. Now, they might not necessarily agree with it or, like, think that you can change your gender, but they're not really going to care. They have their own lives and they have their own problems. At the end of the day, getting in a fight with you over what gender you are really just gets on, right? They don't really care. But invade their privacy, whenever you are now requiring them to comply with your vocabulary, now you are effectively enlisting them inside of your worldview. And I think that whenever you put a position out and it's a you're either with us or against us position, every single time that happens, I feel, the end result is that most people are against you. And it's not even that you usually have a bad position, it's that people just don't want to be told what the fuck to do. Straight up. They don't want to be talked around. They don't want to be talked down to. They don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be bullied and pushed around, just in a general sense.
She's winning this fight. Now, Keira Knightley, Pirates of the Caribbean fame Keira Knightley, and many other things.
It's aggressive,
It's
yeah.
just like, this is really stupid, isn't it? And yes, those people are just going to have to learn to live with the rest of us.
Yeah, you're going to have to do it. Yeah, too bad.
BuzzFeed weren't happy. I can't believe BuzzFeed's still a thing.
I didn't even know it was.
BuzzFeed shut down. BuzzFeed shut down?
He's thinking about golf.
All right, it was BuzzFeed
Yeah.
News that shut down. BuzzFeed itself is still limping along, apparently.
So now BuzzFeed. So now they don't have news in the name. Okay, well that's good. It was false advertising.
But they seem to have forgotten what decade it is. It's not the 2010s anymore.
time
We
is it?
don't have to give a damn about you when we don't.
I still got an hour.
And then you've got the the sort of the people who are sort of in the wake of all of this. Those
I
people
don't accept somebody's apology. Okay, Emily. That's nice.
who are swept up in the 2010s.
The reason why these people have such a huge problem is that people think that anybody gives a fuck what they think. And I think this is the real realization that's bothering them, is they're realizing that a lot of people actually just don't give a fuck what they think. It doesn't matter whether your approval is or is not. Like, nobody cares. Like, why would anybody care what you think? You ain't shit.
And it became like their teenage and early 20s and Metro. I'm so feminist. I'm so woke. And they're just like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't accept Kieran an apology for working with J.K. Rowling. It's like, listen, Emily Bashforth, no one gives a fuck. Your opinion means nothing to anyone.
Exactly. Yeah,
Which is like,
exactly. Nobody cares.
you write for Metro.
Yeah. Duh.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. But let's head over to Blue Sky, because that's where you're going to get all the best reactions to just anything that there is going.
Yep.
I mean, this is mad by the serfs.
Oh,
J.K. Rowling has denied the Nazi persecution of LGBTQ plus people in the Holocaust, or at least she's not denying the Holocaust. Uses money she earns to legislate trans people out of existence. She's not a legislator. She just funds causes she believes in.
Yes.
Like everyone does. Elon Musk funds Tommy. George Soros funds
open
borders and the mutilation of children. And J.K. Rowling funds politics to keep men in dresses out of women's spaces. And the serfs never forgive her for this.
Oh, he's just an idiot. That's the reason why.
She asked her for this to photograph women going out into the washroom. No, she didn't. But I certainly know J.K. Rowling wasn't like, these women going into the bathroom because trans women and women has got the serfs to that point. Absolutely.
It's like the illegal immigrant and immigrant. It's like you intentionally use the terms interchangeably and you radicalize people against it.
Nonsense. I mean, I don't.
It's language tricks, lying.
J.K. Rowling's denied any aspects of it. I wouldn't be shocked if this guy just made that up. But either way, who cares? Shut up. Not
Who cares? This is the mentality that I think more people need to have with a lot of these weird purity testing, virtue signaling people on the internet. Whatever they say, shut up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter. Your audience is meaningless.
Where's the kitten?
Like, and I think the big issue is that people are too afraid to do that. They're afraid that, oh, well, there's going to be a few people on Twitter that don't like me, etc. Well, if somebody is rude, and if they want to be a victim, well,
Fucking
then,
asshole.
I mean, my outlook on this is very simple. I am generally very like non-confrontational, but and the reason why is that most people can't really address it. What are we going to Like, it doesn't matter if somebody makes a tweet. It's not like an all person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that the big issue is that people like this have lived in a world for the last 10 years where they've been living in the delusion that their opinion matters. And now I think that the amount of people that is very, it's a super outspoken minority on the internet, but nobody really cares about them, and almost nobody agrees with them. So once people realize that, and now that's why you have companies that are moving away from them. People are catching on. Is that an internet tweet that's popular, that's a bunch of retards getting mad, doesn't matter. It never matters. But some people thought it did.
We're all going to figure out how to listen. And context, it makes it worse. We should just seem to laugh at the idea of caring about.
I just cheated the crap out of that.
Oh, nobody cares about this shit, bro. Like, nobody cares. I would say that woke people have been extremely overrepresented in everything. They have. They absolutely have, and nobody likes them. They don't even like themselves.
Ah, so based. Fuck you, human rights, bro. Actually, this is such a weird thing as well. Nobody has the human rights to go into the bathroom of the opposite sex. That's not a human.
Yeah, you don't have a human right to go into another gender bathroom. It's just it's not even like they use these terms. The reason why they use these terms is so they can emotionally elevate the conversation to give themselves the upper hand in the battle of optics. But the reality is that he's completely right. Nobody has the human right to have everybody else agree with what their pronouns are. Nobody has the human right to be seen as any specific gender, to be agreed with, to be, complied with, or anything like that. Nobody has that right.
Human right that anyone has. And women have not any right to walk into the men's bathroom. And it's not a human right. Saying, well, I'm a man in a dress. I like the human right to walk into a women's bathroom. Sorry, you don't have that. You just don't have that. So, I would laugh at this human right too, because it's quite stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Then you have J.K. Rowling wants to strip me of my rights. Man, I do. Just on the title. And, you know what? I get the feeling we have to
Cantankerous she/her attempting academia. See, this is what I've been trying to warn y'all about for a while. I've been trying to tell y'all about this.
She/her. You might not be a she/her, actually.
Level 5 retard.
But J.K. Rowling wants to strip me of my rights. Keira Knightley, have you tried meeting her halfway?
Yeah.
Or have you tried just going in the men's?
Yeah.
Because I suspect that's where you actually belong, right? You just have to deal with the fact you don't have the right to go in the bathroom of the opposite sex.
Yep.
That stupid little Keira Knightley is not seeing heaven. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ.
You really think that you know what God wants? You think God wants men to go into the women's bathroom? Is that really what God? You think God's really thinking about that? Like, that's crazy. That really, I wonder. Like, wow.
Calm down. When the transaction is still make sure that person doesn't see heaven. Honestly, wouldn't be shocked if some radical lunatic did something really stupid.
Oh, I don't know about that.
They really hate J.K. Rowling, and they really hate anyone J.K. Rowling supports, and they can feel that the cultural power, influence, and relevance is waning. And so, I mean, it's not like there are examples of them doing terrible things already. It wouldn't shock me if some random insane person did something insane. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Anyway, Keira Knightley, we all have to live together. learn to live together while taking money from a mad bastard in a castle who openly wants trans people eradicated from society.
It's crazy that these people don't even know, like, they think that they can reframe things in a way that sounds good, and somehow that's why people agree with them. People really care as much about optics as they used to, and I think that what's happened is that, especially as social media has become more decentralized and there's more freedom of speech, I think there's less of a compelling nature that social media has to make people feel like they have to say things in the right way. Like, now, I don't think people really need to do that. This would work 5 years ago, right? It would have. But nowadays, it doesn't anymore. Because people don't feel like they have to put on this fake persona. Because actually, a lot of people don't want to live with this. And I think that a lot of people's genuine opinions about these social issues are extremely right-wing, much more so than you would expect. But the Overton window doesn't really allow for those people to get their voices out. So they're just simply cosplaying as moderates until things change. And when they do change, I think that you're really going to be surprised what they actually think about